Hello, welcome to Late's News Today. The new-look Cavs sure beat the living shit out of the Celtics. Sunday's result should not be read as the Celtics are fake or the Cavs are better than the Celtics or the Celtics are doomed in the playoffs, although I dearly wish for all three of those things to be true. But it seems reasonable to say that the Celtics, who've had the NBA's best defense this season, present an excellent test for any opponent, especially an opponent integrating 4 new rotation players on the fly. And the Cavs aced the absolute hell out of this test, crushing the Celtics 121-99, in a game in which the entire fourth quarter played out as garbage time. It's early yet to say whether Cleveland will be a whole lot better defensively, going forward. The guys they got are, for the most part, better defensively than the guys they've replaced. Rodney Hood is a vastly better defensive player than Dwayne Wade. Jordan Clarkson, who is not a very good defender, is a vastly better defensive player than Isaiah Thomas. Larry Nance Jr. is a vastly better defensive player than Channing Frye. George Hill is a million billion times better a defensive player than Derrick Rose. But the Celtics are also not an especially good offensive team. They rank in the NBA's bottom 10 in offensive efficiency, and a somewhat better test of Cleveland's post-trade deadline defense will come Tuesday, when the Cavs travel to Oklahoma City to face the 12th-ranked Thunder offense. But as a look at what these new Cavs can do, man, it was mighty impressive. For starters, 121 points is the most the Celtics have given up in a game this regular season, and the 122.5 offensive rating put up by the Cavs Sunday afternoon is a full 22 points higher than what the Celtics allow per game. Every new Cavs player made their presence felt. Rodney Hood scored 15 points in 19 minutes. Jordan Clarkson scored 11 points in the second half, and 17 overall, on 11 shots. George Hill started and chipped in 12 points while switching all over the perimeter on defense, and Larry Nance Jr. did this. It was almost jarring to watch LeBron surrounded by young guys who can run and jump and make twitchy, athletic plays. In a series of trades spread over a single afternoon, the Cavs went from a slow, plodding, earthbound team to one that can put plus athletes at all 5 positions, without sacrificing much proficiency at either end. The Cavs now have 2 quick, agile bigs who can switch onto perimeter players, and they suddenly find themselves reasonably deep with wings who can do some shooting, and some slashing, and enough on-ball defending to play good minutes in multiple lineups. Those strengths were on display in Boston. In the second and third quarters, the Cavs launched 21 threes and held the Celtics to 33% shooting, and blew the game open to the tune of a 21-point lead. They got at least 3 3-point attempts from 6 different players, and that's without Kevin Love, who is still out with a broken hand. The Celtics are a genuinely great defensive team, and the Cavs spent the middle quarters spinning them in circles, until the Boston crowd was finally reduced to booing the home team after Cavs buckets. Possibly the most fun part of this, in fact, was the captive Boston crowd. Most other nights, with their team getting smoked and the game functionally over by the end of the third quarter, the home crowd would have streamed out of there. Today the Celtics had the Paul Pierce jersey retirement ceremony queued up for post-game entertainment, which meant restless and grumpy Celtics fans were pinned in their seats all the way to the bitter end. With nothing left to root for in the game, Celtics fans spent the fourth quarter chanting for Paul Pierce. It made for a cool scene, and also for a fun reminder that 20,000 Bostonians had to choose between missing a jersey retirement or watching LeBron's team make mincemeat out of their beloved Celtics. Cleveland plays 6 of 7 at home following the All-Star break, followed by a 6-game road trip out west. Last season, fans had reason to expect that the Cavs at least could turn up the defensive intensity when the games mattered. This season, with so many new players, and with the defensive effort having sunken so low, the big question going forward will be whether this roster can develop the necessary chemistry to perform on that end. But Sunday's result in Boston suggests at least that offense will continue to not be a problem. Recommended stories. South Korean presidential candidate concerned about Trump's aircraft carrier story. President Trump's comments about moving the USS Carl Vinson toward North Korea and a show of force have sparked confusion and could cause South Korea to not trust what Trump says for the remainder of his term, a South Korea presidential candidate said Wednesday. Hong Joon-pyo, the candidate from Park Geun-hye's party, said Trump's comments about moving the USS Carl Vinson toward North Korea and a show of force spurred by that rogue nation's nuclear program was important to South Korea's security, The Wall Street Journal reported. The U.S. Navy said Tuesday it did not immediately move the carrier toward North Korea despite President Trump's earlier comments to Fox Business that he was sending an armada to deter Pyongyang. "We are sending an armada, very powerful. We have submarines, very powerful, far more powerful than the aircraft carrier," Trump told the Fox Business Network's Maria Bartiromo last week. "We have the best military people on earth. And I will say this, Kim Jong-un is doing the wrong thing." Military officials said at the time the Vinson was canceling a previous itinerary and instead was going to head toward the Korean peninsula. The ship is indeed expected to reach the peninsula but only after first steaming towards Australia. The White House said it did not mislead allies about the ship's movements. The president said we have an armada going toward the peninsula, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said. "That's a fact. It happened. It is happening, rather." Marushige Michishida, a professor at the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, told the Journal that regardless of whether the U.S. intended to deceive or the narrative was a miscommunication, it looked bad for the White House. At a time of emergency, disinformation could be used as a tactic, but if the U.S. president spreads disinformation in peacetime like now, it would hurt the credibility of the U.S., he said.
On the ball pressure, him just running the team, and then the three guys came off the bench. Jordan is he's ready to score at any point in time, but his composure was great. Rodney played with so much poise, and Larry was just controlling Emerson, great pick and rolls, got him alive, got him a dunk. So it was a good start for the new guys, good start for all of us. With our revamped team so far. That's what we want to do. I know we've been preaching it for quite a while, but it hasn't resulted in numbers or wins. And we feel like right now, with the type of caliber players that we have now, that we can defend at a high level. There's going to be some games where teams make shots. We understand that, but tonight we felt like we just wanted to contest all the shots we could and maybe try to miss as many as we could and get clean glass. We did a good job of it. I think they're playing better basketball than we are. Especially for the majority of the season. We got some work to still do. We just coming together. The guys don't quite know everything that we want to do. We got to have some practice times to get that. Watch a lot of film. So we got some catching up to do with not only Boston but Toronto and Philadelphia and all the other teams in the Eastern Conference and the rest of the league to try to get on the page where we feel like we're confident enough to go out and win a playoff game. I'm never surprised by anything. But I think the way we play the game tonight is the way we want to continue to play it.
I know the shift in the team spirit. What you thought of when you guys were on the bench, how that helps the overall product.
Well, listen, we want all our teammates to be successful, no matter if you're in the game or out of the game. I think the starters did a great job, and then the bench came in and picked it up. The opening tip all the way to the end of the game. We all root for one another, and that's big time.
20 fast break points, is that what could be coming? I'm not saying every night, but...
Well, we don't know. If we can get stops, we got enough athleticism, we can get our run. We got enough unselfish guys where if we don't have a shot, we're going to get other guys involved. So it's up to us to get stops, and then we can get out and go. I think George Hill's basketball IQ compliments me. Guy's been in so many big games. You can tell he know how to play the game. smart, big, physical. So we definitely gonna work well together.
You had a long rivalry with Paul Pierce. This is one last chance to get a word in.
How do you respond to that? Obviously, statistically, you responded quite well, but when you go out in the first quarter, injuries there.
Well, Baines is a big boy, man. Yeah, he should be. In his off time, he should be on Game of Thrones. And him and Steven Adams, and and I got to see him next. So I took a knee to the quad, kind of knee to the side of the knee, and it hurt big time. So I got a couple days until we go, until we play in OKC Tuesday night, and hope I'm ready to go.
Something with your finger too?
Yeah, but I'm fine. That's fine. We just want to win games, and it's great to get a win.
What's the key to the last 30 games? Not a lot of
We want to. I know we're gonna play every other day, especially after the break. But we have an opportunity to watch a lot of film, and then when we do get on the floor, just go over what we want to do every night. We got some smart guys that came to our team that picked up some things very quick just from yesterday's practice and today's shoot around. So that's a good start.
Good to see JR back on track.
JR gave us something tonight to let us know that he's still here.
David Jetty's at this dunk. Did you say anything to Prophet?
No, the Jetty, no. Listen, he missed the dunk. It happens. We move on to the next play. He made back-to-back threes in the fourth. Jetty he had an and one. He's a great player. He's continuing to get better and better. So I'm not gonna say much about the missed dunk. See, I'm not gonna say much about it. Who, me? Listen, at the end of the day, it's like being around guys who want to play and work hard. I know I demand a lot of excellence from my teammates, but I demand it out of myself too. And we're on the road. We want to try to play as well as we can and put ourselves in contention to try to compete for another championship. And that's my mindset.
One last question.
Well, I know that the guys that's here, they're very excited about this opportunity, and it's my job to keep them excited about being here and joining something that, obviously the last couple of months haven't been as what we expected, but over the course of the 4 years since I came back, it's been really good basketball. So it's my job as the leader of this team to make sure that I acclimate new four guys to be around a culture that's built around winning, built around practicing championship habits. So that's it.